A very good evening. Thank you very much for choosing GHOne TV. My name is Kweku. It's a pleasure tonight joining you with the latest happenings throughout the country as normal as we bring you. Tonight, I'll bring you the latest happenings throughout the country. We'll come the length of breadth of the country. We'll ensure that the stories that you're looking forward to, we'll present them to you. Before we do so, let's look at some of the top stories we have for you tonight. Coming up in the next 60 minutes, coalition of CSOs in HIV and AIDS threaten to picket over delays in clearing donated drugs from the Global Fund, as the fund has warned of suspending support to government if detained drugs are not cleared from the ports by the end of June.
We, the leadership of CSO networks, whose area of operations mainly focus on HIV and AIDS and malaria and TB, plan to stage a mass public demonstration to present a petition to the presidency.
Tonight we will be in court as court fixes Thursday to rule on admissibility of controversial Godfred Dame Richard Jakpa tape in ongoing trial. But minority in parliament announces boycott of parliament anytime Dr. Kweku Atoforsen is scheduled to appear in court.
That was not the meeting had two or 3 weeks ago. These were discussions held years ago.
Let's bring you something on education tonight as Education Minister explains delays in the distribution of tablets under the One Student, One Tablet policy. Tonight, we'll talk about the tablets and how they are getting to the various schools.
We have to be deliberate about how these devices are used. We have warehouses full of them, which we can allow any media to see.
And tonight, we shall also tell you a story of how a highway post is posing danger to traders and pedestrians at the Malam market. How is it positioned? We will be in the community to bring you more. Allow us get to your homes with our business updates as businesswomen in mining have been urged to leverage resources, expertise, and networks to effect meaningful change and push for the passage and implementation of policies that will create a more inclusive and equitable mining industry. Tonight we have these and many other interesting stories making the 1 hour bulletin. Stay with us as we bring you all these and many more. My name is Kweku. Thank you very much for choosing GHOne TV. Let's take our very first story for tonight, and here the High Court in Accra has fixed Thursday, June 13, 2024, to rule on the state prosecutor's objection against the tendering of an audio conversation between the Attorney General, I'm talking about the AG, and businessman Richard Jakpa's prosecution, led by Yvonne Atakra Obuobisa, Director of Public Prosecutions as the DPP, objected to the tendering of the audio after it was played in open court. Well, the court, presided over by Justice Ifiasewa Asari Botwe, fixed the date after hearing arguments from both prosecution and lawyers of the former Deputy Finance Minister, Dr. Kweku Atoforsen. Well, the DPP, while objecting to the tendering of the audio, said was earlier considered relevant by the court in the ruling of an application for a Mistral argued that there is no proper foundation for the admissibility of the audio. Mutala Enusa is head of our legal affairs desk, and he joins me for more on this particular story. Thank you very much, Mutala, for your time tonight. Let me find out from you. So, first of all, what were the arguments for and against the tendering of the tape in the ongoing trial?
So, Kweku, after the tape was played in open court, the lawyers of Dr. Kweku Atoforsen indicated that they were tendering it through the witness. It was at that point that the Director of Public Prosecution, Mrs. Yvonne Atakra Obuobisa, raised objection to the tendering of that particular audio. one of the things that she said was that proper foundation was not laid, for which reason that particular tape was supposed to be admitted in evidence. He went ahead to point out to the fact that for an audio to be recorded in the manner in which it did, it has to relate to the commission of a crime. If you look at the discussion on tape between Attorney General and Richard Japa, there was nowhere the Attorney General has indicated or has made an intention of committing a crime. Again, then the DPP also deposed to the fact that, look, if you are making such tape or audio and you want to rely on it in a trial, then you need to show cause. You need to be able to lay proper foundation and make reference to the high treason case involving Dr. Frederick Makpam and some 9 others, who some of them were, as it were, convicted, to say that they went as far back as ensuring that they do a transcription of that particular videos or the visual recordings and all that and made it available to the court. In this very situation, there was nothing like that. And so the court should look at it and say that it is not even relevant to the matter at determination, especially so when Justice Efia Sewa Sariboche, during the ruling on the mistrial, indicated that, look, there's nothing in that particular tape that should, as it were, go or stop that particular trial that is ongoing. The lawyers of Dr. Kasela Tuforsin also came in and said, look, if you look at the objection that was raised, 1, it is frivolous, 2, it is unattainable, and same, should be dismissed. What they contend was that if you look at the subject matter which formed the basis of this very trial, it has to do with a letter of credit which was supposedly signed by the Atsoforcing without the permission of the minister at the time, Seth Tekbe. And so if there was an audio discussion which relates to such discussion, then it is relevant for the court to deal with. Again, they're also making points about the fact that if you look at the Attorney General, who is supposed to be the principal legal advisor of the state, coercing or heard on tape, talking to an accused person on what to do to accept his theory, then they are of the considered view that that particular case cannot go in without that particular audio. The court should admit it, the court should look at it and consider it after the whole trial is ended. Justice Efia Sewa Sariboche listened to the parties and they said, look, this is not a matter that I'm going to give you a ruling today. Hopefully Thursday, the court is expected to sit. So on Thursday, the court will make a ruling as to whether the objection will be sustained or will be overruled. And what it means by being sustained is that if it is sustained, then it means that that particular audio will not be relied on. But if it is overruled, then it means that it will be overruled, it will be allowed into to be tendered in evidence, and the court will have to examine that in entirety when it's dealing with the charges that have been preferred against the accused person. So, Kweku, in brief, today the subject matter is the audio that was ahead between the Attorney General and Richard Japa.
All right, so Mutala, interesting sharing with us the arguments for and against, but you have been engaging the Deputy AG who was in court today. What did he tell you?
So, Kweku, you noticed that during the ruling at the last week, what was one of the things that came to the fore was the fact that the court advised the Attorney General that looking at the basis of this audio, if directly he should not involve himself in this case. Attorney General wasn't present in court today, so I've been finding out from the Deputy Attorney General is in relation to the advice given to the Attorney General. That is why we are here. He wasn't here in court. And also, what is it that at one point in time the court said this audio is relevant, and today you are raising objection to that? Let's hear from the Deputy Attorney General, Alfred Chiayebua.
I think you heard a DPP. She raised about 2 objections. One about relevance, then one about constitutional infractions. So I'm not going to details where in court. The judge will definitely give a ruling on it, so you know where it will be. When it comes to motions, the judge explained motion for mistrial. That document was exhibited and justified. She was going to consider because the basis of mistrial was that something untold had been done. The judge had to ascertain whether from the tape something bad had been done by the learned AG. And the judge was so clear that AG was not heard on that tape suggesting that the third accused person should implicate the first accused. So that's settled, sealed. And so today, what they're saying is to tender the same tape. So they said, fine, if you want to tender, you must show that it is relevant to the issues you are going to contest in this matter. And that's why we demonstrated that it's not relevant so far as the determination of whether they are guilty or not guilty or the issues involved. He's a lawyer. He comes to court as and when he deems it fit. If he thinks that on any day he needs to be in court, he will be in court.
All right, so let's bring you more of what transpired in court. My colleague Mutala Inusa is still standing by, but Sami Gyamfi, who is also a member of the legal team of the minority lead, spoke to the media. Tell us, Sami Gyamfi's part, what Sami Gyamfi actually talked about.
Well, Kweku, clearly, he also opposes to that particular stance by the prosecution to say that we are, as it were, objecting to that particular audio that is being sent. They raise a lot of issues about the fact that, look, what is it that the voice of on tape is that of the Attorney General, and he has not challenged that. He has never said that that is not his voice. He has never said that that is not him. Let's hear from Sami Gyamfi, who spoke to us after today's proceedings.
If you look at the evidence on that pen drive, or the evidence that we have even put out in the media, that I know very well we put before the court, okay? There are WhatsApp chats between Japa and Godfrey. And if you go through the WhatsApp chats, you realize that Godfrey Dami's interactions and meetings and telephone conversations with Mr. Japa did not start 2 weeks ago. You will know that those interactions started as far back as February 2022 at the outset of the case. Even before the Attorney General will call his first prosecution witness, he was having these interactions with Japa. Japa has testified to these matters in his affidavit before the court, where he had a meeting with him and he told him that, I know you are innocent, but I cannot enter nolli prosequi for you because it will expose my real motive, which is to persecute Attoforsen. So wait, when we get to the submission of no case stage, you'll be left off the hook. That was not a meeting had two or 3 weeks ago. These were discussions held years ago. So when you see people reducing everything to this tape, which was recorded on the 9th of April, after, yes, a prima facie case had already been determined, they are not assessing the evidence holistically. Because on the tape, you hear Japa saying that you have been meeting me in my cousin Kolendi's house on several occasions. Is that on the tape or not? Now, those meetings happened 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago. No.
But DPP
meetings happened at the outset from the beginning of the case. So these issues about bad faith on the part of the Attorney General did not start today. They go to the very foundation of the case. So don't fall into that trap.
Well, we're grateful to Mutala Inusa for bringing us all the details from court. He's closely following the details and he should be bringing us more. But still staying on that story, the minority in parliament have served notice that they will boycott sitting anytime their leader, that's Dr. Kweku Attoforsen, is scheduled to appear in court for the ongoing ambulance trial. Well, the move follows the rejection of a request by the legal team of the minority leader for the case to be scheduled in a way that allows him to attend parliamentary business by the trial judge. While speaking to the media, Minority Chief Whip Govins Kwame Agboja questioned why the trial judge failed to see reason in the request of the legal team of Dr. Kweku Attoforsen.
The NDC Minority Caucus has taken notice of this worrying trend that shows an attempt by the trial judge, Justice Efia Sewa Asaribotwe, to prevent the minority leader from performing his constitutional duties as the elected member of parliament and the leader of the NDC minority parliament. In the light of the above and the continuous persecution of the minority leader, the NDC minority will continue to solidarize with and stand by the leader anytime he is due in court. The NDC Minority Caucus further reserves the right to apply all other tools available to us and in any form to approach business on the floor.
Well, this is News Tonight. We move on to other stories, and here the government has clarified that not all schools have received the tablets under the one student, one tablet policy, which was launched a few months ago. Well, this comes after GHOne TV's Factometer discovered that claims by flag bearer of the governing MPP that all students have received the tablets is false. Education Minister Dr. Osei-Yaw Edutrim, who spoke to our Ashanti regional correspondent, disclosed that the flag bearer, who doubles as the vice president, that's Dr. Mahmoud Baumia, will distribute some 500 tablets to students of the Opoku-Ware Senior High School in the Ashanti region during his tour of the area. Well, he also explained the reason for the delays in the distribution of the tablets.
Students are going to be handed their tablets. As I speak with you, teachers are being trained. I just visited them and saw how they are being trained so that they can utilize the tablets in their classrooms. They are going to use a learning management system on which is loaded all the content that the student need in order to ensure that the tablet deployment is smooth and is more purposeful and is used to improve teaching and learning in the classroom. So I'm very excited. Tomorrow the Vice President will be here and symbolically do the handing over to the students of the tablet, and then we'll begin. We are training teachers first. Our headmasters have been giving guidelines. Our parents, for example, will countersign the acceptable use policy that the students have to sign to agree that when they get a device, they will use it for the right purposes. So we have to be deliberate about how these devices are used. We have warehouses full of them, which we can allow any media to see. So I will tell you that our goal is to make sure that distribution goes smoothly and that students will use the tablet.
We're still bringing you some more stories, and here traders and pedestrians at the Mala Market are calling on authorities at the Ablekuma North Municipal Assembly to, as a matter of agency, fix a fallen highway post before it kills someone. Well, the structure, which has for some time now lost its bolts and not removed as a result of an accident over the weekend, and is posing a risk to the traders and pedestrians who use that stretch. Well, my colleague Awusi Dede Jange has more.
This is a highway post here at the Mala Market in the Ablekuma North Municipality. The almost fallen structure is a source of fear to traders and pedestrians here.
Very scary. Anything can happen. Slight push will go down. Slight push will go down. And people are crossing, how you can see people are crossing, going up and down at the same place.
Yenya happy wa hasa. Yenya happy. Yes, bro. Yes, so you say abaye for no crab baka chende. Yenya careful wa hana we no bottom we bu anytime. Obuso bottom wa but I me tena hapa me be he no dago.
The current state of the highway post, according to this driver, is as a result of an accident which occurred over the weekend.
The brake failed, so he was trying to climb the pavement. Suddenly hits this thing at my back. So that's one stop him to come into the opposite lane to cause more accidents on Saturday afternoon.
Accident in the city, police from one shut down Baha. Because the next accident of about say accident of Oba, we for a bit.
He tells us that the absence of a proper demarcation of the highway has bred indiscipline as drivers park inappropriately.
Accident na I say castle. I say Kantanka, but it's in concrete time if you don't have a boy. And so the concrete is about because an accident is one. And secondly, Dame Bawimalam Fono. I had our parking. I want to park of Hana. I'm a car need the speed no bar. That's a kind of person of feet the other lane now. On your baby and then. Emba. Another or that full pavement. If you saw our park here, sprinters and I cock as one. Middle of the road, or no load.
Traders who do business along the stretch want an immediate action to fix the highway post before it takes a life.
Because always be a catch them. I said that you aim for no. I am Pamom. Pamom, echo bit up and no Masamba. Indeed, I'm a kitty problem.
Another danger here is jaywalking. These pedestrians, instead of using the footbridge, prefer crossing to either side of a road through jaywalking. For now, both pedestrians and traders are not just at risk of the highway post falling, but the high possibility of losing their lives if they continue to jaywalk instead of using the pedestrian footbridge. For GHOne News, Awisi Dede Jange Malam.
Right at the Platinum Place, my name is Kweku. You're watching News Tonight. Up next, we're bringing you Insight. And Insight is proudly brought to you by Pepsodent. With Pepsodent, every smile matters. Well, on Insight tonight, the Global Fund has issued a final warning to stop providing any form of funding to Ghana by the end of June this year if the country fails to clear over 120 containers of essential drugs that have been stuck at the Temeng port since May 2023. Well, this comes after the government failed to deliver on its promise to clear all remaining 182 containers stuck at the ports despite earlier threats by the Global Fund. Well, government has only been able to clear some 60 of the containers since April. Well, the essential drugs donated by the Global Fund is at a cost of some $40 million. Government is only required to cater for the taxes, levies, and port charges for the clearance of the commodities, estimated at some $3.6 million. Well, here is the acting chair of the country's coordinating mechanism of the Global Fund, Ernest Otson, speaking to my colleague Evelyn Araba-Edu.
Right now, we are at the point where the Minister of Health, Honorable Okuboy, has given assurance to the Global Fund that by the end of June, he would ensure that all the commodities are cleared. Now, the Global Fund is holding us by this word. If by the end of June, we do not clear all the commodities, they will have no option than to sever ties with Ghana, because it just does not make sense how you are giving commodities free of charge and for whatever reason you are refusing to clear those same commodities. So the Global Fund, by the end of this month, will most likely announce something unpleasant unless we are able to clear the commodities. And that is why we want to intensify the pressure on government to ensure that these commodities will be cleared from the ports. At this point, to be very honest with you, we are not even too sure of what has happened to these commodities. On paper, we know that a good number of them will be expiring starting from the first quarter of next year. But we are not too sure of the storage conditions as they continue to remain at the ports. So we have now come to the point where we are very, very much concerned about whether the drugs are still wholesome or not. Okay. Because we are not too sure of the conditions under which they are being stored.
Your last words?
My last word is that amongst the containers remaining is just one particular container, a very single container, which contains all the TB medications we need for the next 6 months. Currently, we have run out of stock of all TB medicines in the country.
All right, you definitely would want to know the implications this has on us, especially with tuberculosis. Well, meanwhile, stakeholders in health warns of an imminent outbreak of tuberculosis as the country has run out of tuberculosis medication since May. Well, health facilities in the country are currently rationing TB medications, a situation that would have a dire impact on the people.
It's 1 week, some get 2 weeks, some don't get at all, and they have to move them to other facilities. So it's like we've gotten to the point where they are rationing the last bits of medicines that we have. And TB is such that if you start the treatment and you don't complete the treatment and you stop, when you start retreatment again, the medicine will no longer work. So you now develop resistant TB. And that is very dangerous.
It's been rationed for some 2 months, beginning May. This rationing has been ongoing. But we only want to say that, again, we want to appeal to the president, whoever can intervene for this to happen, because Ghana is unable to procure TB drugs directly because of the conditionalities that you need to make upfront payment, and our procurement laws does not allow for upfront payment, and so that affects the supply chain of TB drugs in the country. So the ones that have been procured already by the Global Fund and they are in country, the expectation is that we can expedite actions for it to be released to the needed persons through the health facilities.
All right, so let's now engage Alfred Chibu, who is the technical director of the TB Voice Network, and he joins us for a conversation on this crucial subject. Well, Alfred, thank you very much for your time tonight. Let me find out from you. So when did you find out that there is a shortage of TB drugs in the country, and how is it affecting your members? I'm talking about the TB community, people who are living with this situation.
Thank you. I think around April, we made an agent call through the media that there's going to be a shortage of TB drugs. So, as part of our network advocacy work, we asked our members to track commodities at the various districts. And I think from May, we now see that there's critically low stocks or basically shortages around the country. And this is a major concern to our members.
Let me find out from you. So the Ministry of Health a while ago said the drugs which are still locked up at the Temeng ports are not TB drugs. I mean, you've been advocating that, look, we have some TB drugs in there. What is your response to this? Are there TB drugs in there?
Yes, sir, that is true. There are TB drugs in there. So the important thing is that that's the first line drug that we use for TB treatment. So we've actually even noted that those are the ones that must even be expedited and moved immediately from the port.
What efforts have you ensured you've put into ensure that these drugs are released on time? Because yes, maybe early next year we might be seeing its expiry.
I mean, all efforts have been put in place. We organized a media press, I think somewhere early April, as I said, and then we've sent out a communique, and as we are doing now, we've made it a media advocacy point or discussion. The whole week we've been talking about this matter, and it's kind of a mind-boggling issue because in the first place, these commodities were not procured with Ghana government money. It's a grant that was given to us through the Global Fund. So it's very difficult to even understand that we don't have money to procure the medicine. Somebody gives us money to procure the medicine, and it comes to our port, And now we are saying that we cannot give waivers for the commodities to be moved or the containers to be moved from the port for members to have medicines to treat TB.
The concerns we are receiving is that, look, you are rationing the TB drugs, the little that there is now. I want to find out, I mean, you see the day-to-day activities of these rationing. How does it affect people living with TB?
Yes.
When it comes to rationing this drug?
TB treatment is something that you cannot enact on. When you start, you need to complete. So the challenge or the danger now is that once there's shortages, it means that we will enact on the treatment. And once you enact on your treatment, you are likely to become drug resistant. And that even takes you a longer time, if not more than 9 months to cure.
The Global Fund is
so
saying...
it's a big challenge. I mean, it's a grave issue we are talking about here.
All right, so I was just trying to find out from you within 30 seconds if you can help me. So the Global Fund is saying that, look, if Ghana does not go ahead to clear these drugs, I'm washing my hands off you. I am not going to do this provision of free supplies for you. Do you think this is an imminent danger for us, so long as tuberculosis, HIV, and all others that the Global Fund has been supporting is concerned?
Come again?
All right, so the Global Fund has said that, look, if you don't clear these items from the port, I'm going to wash my hands off supplying you all these essentials in the near future. Do you think if this happens, it's going to affect members or persons living with HIV, persons living with tuberculosis, amongst others?
Yes, because, I mean, the truth of the matter is that 80% of the funding for TB, malaria, and HIV is coming from the Global Fund. The government does only roughly 20%. So once they say they are taking that away, we're basically saying that we're going to have 3 epidemics on our hands that we don't have money to deal with.
A difficult situation
as
there.
civil society, I think what we want to do now is to give the government the last chance. By the 25th of June, if we don't hear anything, we have no option but to hit the street and let our concerns be heard by all citizens. That this is what is happening.
All right. Alfred, thank you. Thank you very much for sharing all your concerns with us tonight. We trust that television gets results and all the stakeholders are watching. Meanwhile, members of the coalition of CSOs in HIV and AIDS, tuberculosis and malaria have threatened to demonstrate on the 25th of June in protest of the government's delay in clearing of the over 120 containers of essential drugs. Well, the containers with medical commodities include antiretroviral drugs, antiseptic insecticide-treated bed nets, rapid diagnostic test kits, and cartridges, amongst others.
Initially, we had planned a demonstration. But then once there was that response and the clearing started, we decided to place a moratorium on the demonstration and give government the opportunity to clear the commodities. It looks like once we took our eyes off the situation, everybody went to sleep and the goods or the commodities still remain at the port. We are highly disappointed. Commodities have been given, and for more than a year, they are still sitting at the port. So we are very, very much disappointed about government's handling of this situation. We have decided that whether the commodities are cleared or not, we will demonstrate, because this situation has caused Ghana a huge international embarrassment, and we think this is unacceptable. So June 25th is the date that has been proposed, and we are going to go ahead with the demonstration, whether the committees are cleared or not, because we think that what happened or what is happening now shouldn't have happened in the first place. And we need to send a strong signal to government that we are not happy about this and we don't want this to ever repeat itself in the future.
All right, so that would close it for Insights tonight, but we will still stay on the subject and bring in more as and when the demonstrations or the clearance of the goods by the global funds from the port is done. Well, Insight is proudly brought to you by Pepsodent. With Pepsodent, every smile matters. All right, so let's do some politics at this moment. For those of you who stayed on, we're grateful for your time. Now, the founder and leader of the All People's Congress, Hassan Ayariga, says the only reason his counterparts of the movement for change, Alan Tremantin, is because he is greedy. Well, Hassan Ayariga, who doubts the future of the movement for change, believes that anyone who joins Alan has no political future. Well, the politician said this when he announced the start of his presidential campaign on Tuesday.
I don't want to go deep into Alan Tremantin, but Alan Tremantin is not a candidate. He's not a candidate. Why is Alan running for president? Why? Alan is a member of the MPP presidential candidate aspirant, was a member. Until that minute, when he believed that he was going to lose the election, he moved out of it and decided to be greedy, to form a movement in order to run for president. The point here is that if MPP is bad, Alan Tremantin is worse, because he's part of the team. Over the years from Kufuor's time to Nana Addo's time, he's worked with the government over this period. And if today Alan is running as an independent candidate, he should tell us about MPP's work, whether they are credible or not. If he agrees that MPP is credible, then he's credible. If he disagrees that MPP is bad, then he's worse. So if Alan is running for president and he's calling movements like Abu Sankara movement and others to join, these are just mere movements that wants to be known. For me, they have no substance. And this movement will end after 2024 elections. Hopefully, if they are even able to qualify, because I don't see anybody who is following Alan Tremantin to have future, because his future will be deserted after 2024 election. Don't leave your party and go and follow Alan Tremantin. After 2024 elections, all movements cease to work. That's the end of them. If you want to be a strong leader, form a party, because that is part of leadership.
Well, let's bring you more politics, and this time from Alban Bagman, who has declared Ghana's peace and stability is under threat following happenings during the registration exercise. Well, Speaker of Parliament Alban Bagman is leading the legislature to take steps to engage stakeholders in ensuring a free and fair election come December 7. Well, the move, according to the Speaker, is to avert any breach of the peace and stability of the country as a result of a disputed election.
In his welcome address to MPs after returning from the break, Alban Bagwin revealed that the team from Parliament, together with the prominent members of the clergy, will be engaging the Electoral Commission, police, National Security Council, presidential candidates, party executives, among others, all geared towards a peaceful poll. The EC chairperson, Jean Adukwe-Mensah, according to the Speaker, has expressed her willingness to avail herself to such engagements. Bagwin, however, warned the worst might be in store for the country if immediate steps are not taken, given the troubles of the voter registration and transfer exercise.
Our citizens deserve better, and we all must collectively unite to uphold their rights and safeguard their freedoms. I have therefore thought it wise to initiate an engagement of this House, led by my good self, with chairpersons of the Electoral Commission, the Media Commission, Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice, and the National Commission on Civic Education to discuss how Parliament could collaborate and work with them to create the right and just environment for free, fair, peaceful, and credible elections.
Well, away from Parliament, we're all set to bring you the latest happenings from our world of business with appreciation to Bill's Microcredit. In business tonight, women in mining have been urged to leverage resources, expertise, and network to affect meaningful change and push for the passage and implementation of the policies that will create a more inclusive and equitable mining industry. Well, according to the Association of Women in Mining Africa, together they can break barriers that obstruct women's advancement and pave a path for women to rise to the top and lead excellence.
The 2024 Association of Women in Mining Africa AWIMA Leadership Awards and Conference is to recognize and celebrate the achievements of women in the extractive industry of Africa. The aim is to inspire the next generation of women leaders to pursue their ambitions with determination and confidence. Melody Kweba is the founder of the association, and she says the conference is to promote gender diversity, equality, and inclusivity.
As women in mining, we want to leave legacy. So that is why we encourage all young girls, young women to be part of AWIMA so that they can participate in the opportunities that we create in all the businesses that are available in the mining industry. So we encourage all young women to be part of AWIMA.
The president of the Ghana chapter of Women in Mining, Dr. Georgette Bansichiado, on her part, stressed on the need to inspire inclusion by championing female role models and highlighting the achievements of women in the space.
The goal is to recognize what women are doing all over Africa, to expose them, to give them the platforms to do more. This is an opportunity for visibility for the women who are in the industry. And when I tell people that now mentorship does not necessarily have to even be physical. We are putting these women out there on a pedestal, out there for people to see. We hope that this message gets out to people and creates awareness and encourage people, and we lift each other up.
The president of the Senegal chapter, Aida Diop Ndiaye, underscored the need for women to pave the way for a future where they can thrive.
If women are empowered, women can make a change, women can contribute to the development, to the socio-economic development, but also to create more inclusive work, more inclusive continent, more inclusive country. Here in Ghana, we launch a call to action to all decision makers, to all partners, to all industry, to all women, to consider women not but just as participants, but a key actor to can make a change, to can create opportunity, to can contribute to the development.
The AWIMA Leadership Conference serves as a platform to honor women in mining who have not only made significant contributions, but also become inspiring figures for others.
All right, so let's see more women in the mining industry. Now, do for business tonight, we are sincerely grateful for the opportunity from Bill's Microcredit to ensure that we bring you business this evening. All right, so we want to say a big thank you that you stayed with us throughout the bulletin tonight. We want you to bring the family together, especially the children. Ensure that everyone would brush with Pepsodent. Of course, we always say that with Pepsodent, every smile matters. Bulletin led by Musa Lance on behalf of the entire production team. Tonight, we want to say good night to you. Keep the channel here. We have great programs right here. Enjoy your evening. My name is Kweku Temeng.